Good evening, everybody. Good morning. It's me. It's 2 Cents. It's Mark. How are you all doing? I am happy to have a fellow YouTube rugby guy alongside me here, and that is G-Man. G-Man, how is it going?
Hey Mark, good thanks. Good yourself. Good to be back.
I am not too bad. It's been a while since we've spoken.
It has,
We
it has. We're
just
just talking off air now. What, about a year and a half now or something.
Yeah,
Time
yeah,
flies.
it's
Jeez,
it
like,
is. It is flying, absolutely. It was, I think, probably World Cup stuff we were talking about last time, and now it's like fully.
no, wait, then it's long. It's longer than that.
Is it really
But 2 years. It's about 2 years because it's 2019. Yeah, it was the World Cup stuff. Now,
crazy?
where time flies.
Well, we've got the Lions tour going, so that's mostly what we're going to be talking about today. I would imagine we've both kind of had a wee chat about some stuff we would like to talk about, so we'll go through those points and
Yep.
then we'll go through anything that the guys want to talk about at the end as well. I can see Randy's here in the chat, Big Will, Ruben, and Chris. So a bunch of regulars are here, so I'm sure they'll want to pick your brain, maybe mine as well. But I mean, before I go through any of those kind of really interesting points that I want to go, I mean, just how are you feeling about the game? One game in, South Africa's, they're down, but they're not out.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a whirlwind right now. I think it's the amazement that the tournament is actually happening. I think we've been in so much disbelief and positive, negative. Is it happening? Crowds, no crowds. Let's just be mental at the moment. But I'm just grateful that we got a tournament kickoff, the first test. I mean, the goosebumps at the start of it, the electricity to see the Springboks again for us South Africans was immense, even though we didn't have a crowd. It was just epic. Again, ups and downs. I was impressed with the performances from the Springboks. I thought the first half we pretty much had it. Second half we lost it a bit. We just didn't seem to want to play it more. Whereas the Lions just came in and the attitude changed. They were pumped, ready. If it was a penalty, they were just you could see Ty Forlong went red in celebration. There was just a hell of a lot of they wanted it more. Where South Africa just kind of sat back a bit for me and just took it too easy. I think the confidence there was just overconfident, and I'm as guilty as this as well. Because when the first 20 minutes in, I said to my one mate, I said, I'm actually not quite nervous. I'm
Hmm.
feeling quite confident. Whereas like the World Cup at one stage where you're constantly scared because it's a World Cup, I just got too confident. Then boom, second half, hello Lions, welcome. This is
Yeah.
the Lions from freaking Europe, and they showed us.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, the cliche is the game of two halves. It really was. The
It
Lions
is.
kind of they looked all at sea at times in that first half. South Africa
Yeah.
seemed to have them kind of under control. The guys flying out of the line, Lekanyo Arm and Peter Steff and whatnot, they were making the Lions' lives really uncomfortable. And
They
then,
were.
yeah, second half, things kind of just switched. But what I wanted to ask, obviously the teams are out today. Have you? I forgot to ask you off air. You've seen the lineups?
Yeah, I've seen briefly. I haven't gone full in detail.
Yeah.
I've seen the
So
Lions more than the Springboks. I'm a bit nervous at
okay,
the Springboks one, but I
Springboks.
will
They've
check it.
got the Visa has come in for Quacker Smith at number 8. So
Yes,
he's
yes, yes,
he's
yes, yes.
he's the
I have
first
seen
one
him.
I need to pick him. I think that's a different kind of that's a different style, isn't it?
It is very different. I'm still a question mark whether or not that was the right one. I feel for Quacker Smith because there's just something different he brings to the game. And if we go back 2 years ago, a lot of people rated him highly and reckoned he should have been in that squad. But like 100%, I want to say, um, I would have. I would have loved him to be given another chance just from a confidence booster and maybe swap him off second half a little earlier than expected. As far as this is concerned, I'm not too afraid. It's just needs to just show us what he's made of and prove the critics wrong. They keep
Yeah.
saying he's a bit more like Dwayne.
Mm.
Um, I mean, to be honest, I don't think anyone's like Dwayne from Denham.
Nobody's like Dwayne. That's right.
Exactly. But if he brings his own game and just plays to the best of his ability and gets what he needs, I'm happy. But all I'm saying to these guys now, especially the ones that get criticized the most, just prove me wrong or prove us wrong, and then you've earned your position. Because whether we like it or not, neither you or me will be 100% satisfied with the squad, and I think it's up to those guys to prove us wrong. So, good luck to him. It's a great opportunity for him, Um, might have had someone else, but we'll see what he does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that much about him in terms of like I don't watch enough Premiership to really know. People
Same.
who do watch the Premiership rate him as a he's a pretty big blockbusting ball carrier. So I guess that's where the comparisons with Dwayne Vermeulen kind of come in
Yes.
terms of just the physical presence. But Dwayne is so slick under the high ball, and he's good at the breakdown. He just does everything really well. So yeah, he is. We kind of wish he could have the Alan Wynne Jones style miracle recovery. That would be
Exactly.
that
Yeah,
would be
that would have
ideal.
been remarkable if we could have seen that. But well, we'll see what these guys do.
The other two guys for the Boxers, they've brought in Van Staden on the bench and Koch also on the bench. So I think Ox is injured. That's the reason
Yeah.
Koch comes in and Trevor switches sides. But yeah, I mean, is that hard on Elstad, or is it kind of he didn't make enough impact when he came off the bench?
It's a bit tough on Ulster, to be honest with you. But again, the thing with Rassie and Nenaber, they're such talented but strangely odd type of coaches. You can't really predict what these two have under their sleeves. One minute you think, what the hell are you doing? And the next minute it's a bloody miracle that wins you a World Cup. So to be honest, I've given up judging players and all that stuff. But let's see what these guys can do. Ox, unfortunately, injured, so I think Koch could do a good job. He's a solid brute. He's got a lot of power in him, and he's experienced more than Ox. Whereas I was nervous last week with him starting, thought maybe lacking experience, but I thought he had a great game considering. Um, so again, bring it on, prove us wrong. But I do feel sorry for Elston in a way.
Yeah, for sure. John has just dropped a super chat in, so I'll read his question out before I jump to your next one. He says, guys, do you think South Africa lost a critical psychological edge with the bomb squad not able to impose themselves last week? Thank you for that, John. I'll go to G-Man in a sec, but I would say it's one game.
Yeah,
Obviously, the fact that the bomb squad weren't able to have that kind of effect that we're used to will obviously have a slight effect, but I do think one
yeah.
game. I mean, I still wouldn't like to see that Springboks bench coming at me after 40 minutes, but what do you reckon, G-Man?
I think I agree with you there. I think we get ourselves so hyped with this bomb squad that, the miracle makers in the Rugby World Cup. And I too was expecting quite a lot of that second half, and they didn't shine as much as we would have thought. So I think it did knock us a little bit. But it's first game. I think anything can happen. What second game they're going to dominate the blinking world and shock us and see what happens. But I think first game jitters as well. The boys haven't played. Yes, I know they played Georgia and all that. They haven't played on a competitive level like this since the World Cup final. So I think butterflies in the air. The fact that they could hold their own, I was impressed with. There were so many comments on my side from previews and stuff saying South Africa are going to get thumped. We didn't get thumped, and even the fact that we just lost, I was proud of the effort that they did. That's all I wanted to see was just a steady, strong performance. So I think watch out for that bomb squad. They're going to appear and show us what they're made of. But I wouldn't say it's going to affect us for the next few games.
Fair point. Thank you again for that, John. Now, G-Man, what was one of the ones you had on your list?
Well, I think it's one that everyone's talking about, and I see like Big Will saying, "Love Rassie, think he's out of the box." He is just pure class. He's one of those coaches like you just don't know what the hell he's going to do. And I know he's not coach; he's director, which is even
He's
more
director
hilarious.
and water boy.
But and Water Boy, hence why I'm going to talk about it. What is your take on the Water Boy stance? Or I know Gatlin said, "Well, if you want to be a Water Boy, then please bring out the water to the players."
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just it's an interesting one. I have no issue with it, but what are your thoughts with it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was. I don't know. Maybe Getz seemed to dwell on it a little bit. I think after that South Africa A loss, because I
Yeah,
think Getz was maybe asked about it once and he kind of dismissed it, and then when he was asked about it again, or maybe he brought it up, I can't recall, but he seemed to focus on with that little, if you're going to be the water boy, you need to bring water. I mean, all the coaches get messages to their guys in their own way. The fact that Rassie decided to use the water boy thing is just him with his left field thinking again. I mean, I remember he's the guy who used to sit on top of the stadium, I
Yes,
think at Bloemfontein, with like flags to signal guys on
exactly.
the field and light colors to signal what plays he wanted them to do. So the dude is a kind of crazy. So the fact that
Yeah.
he's come up with that one is instead of using somebody else, he goes in for himself. Is yeah, no, that's just pure Rassie, isn't it? I mean, Clive Wood was saying he needs to step back and let the guys manage their own business. I don't really ever want to find myself agreeing with Clive, but I mean, I
No,
guess there's
I thought his
maybe a
comments
little.
was, oh God, have a
I
sense of
mean,
humor from Woodward.
yeah, there's a little bit of maybe you need to let the players have their own kind of leadership thing and make their own decisions, but I mean, I don't think any team is not getting messages onto the field in one way or another. So it's just that's
I
six of
never,
one, half a dozen of the other.
I never understood it though in rugby, and it was why it wasn't quite allowed. I mean, you see it in football quite a lot, and all that stuff. But if we go back to the World Cup final, I think it was the quarterfinals. You often, I think the rugby onslaught, and I know they're full of shit, but you know,
Yeah.
if you watch them, they know they picked up Jacques doing the exact same thing as Rassie, but Jacques is a qualified physician, so he could actually get away with it. But you know what? They say your coach is not allowed on the field. Russ is not a coach. Russ is the director, so he's pretty much just the back end man. So
That's
I didn't
right.
have a problem. I agree with Gatlin. I think for the SAA game, different story because he was technically coached in that first one, and because of the COVID-19 stuff. So that one I can half get him, agree with him for. But for the rest, I think it's clever. I think it's smart.
Yeah.
It's mind games. So many teams have done it differently, but never have they done it like this. And like you said
That's
with
right.
Rusty, I mean, he confused the heck out of the Curry Cup teams when he stood on the roof for the Cheetahs. No one knew what he was doing, and that's what got him the success they got with
Yeah.
the Cheetahs. It was remarkable what he produced for them, and I think it's the same with South Africa. A lot of people say it's an insult to Jacques because it's taking away the limelight for him as head coach. I can understand that because all we're talking about now is Rassie Erasmus. We're not talking about Jacques Nanabe,
That's
who
true.
is technically the head coach. So it takes away the limelight from him. So I do understand that point of view. But these boykies have been working together for so many years now. They know each other's strategies. You could probably think maybe a few of Rassie's ideas last year's was all Jacques.
That's
We
right.
just don't know. So I think you know what, it's fun, it's all goods and jokes, but also Rusty needs to wind it a little bit because I know he's having a lot of fun on Twitter and chirping
Yeah.
people. I see Squids Rugby got a shout out again on live
That's
telly.
right. That's
So
right.
go YouTubers in our industry, grow on.
Yeah.
But you know what, everyone has their own opinion, but
Yeah.
if it works, it works.
Yeah, that's right. Big Will has just also dropped a super chat and he says, Rassie, the rehydration specialist, how can you not love him? I agree. He is just, honestly, I mean, it's the same when he did that, like the Farrell high tackle and got Esther Hagen
Yes,
to reenact. Like,
brilliant.
he's got a bit of a sarcastic kind of sense of humor. Yeah, it's. I
I love
did
it.
notice though because you mentioned about taking the limelight away from Jacques. In the last press conference, they had Rassie and Jacques sitting together, and they asked a question about the props. And at one point, Jacques said, "And Vincent can cover loose head as well." And then he looked at Rassie and was like, can't he?" And Rassie was just kind of like, just like, okay. There's still a little bit of that. There's still a
There's a
little bit of that.
mentorship, but I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. He's new to the
it's
job. It's his first kind of head coaching role, so it's to be
exactly, and they're
expected.
mates, man. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses. I would do the same if I had my right hand alongside me. You know,
That's
we
right.
don't know everything, so
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
That's right. Cheers for that, Big Will. Randy's got a question for you directly. He says, G-Man, is Ben O'Keefe South Africa or the Lions' biggest worry? Because he's the ref this weekend.
I don't know. I want to go positive on the refs this week. I was not happy with Marius Jonker as the TMO, and I was definitely not happy with Jacob Piper the other night. I don't think we should have any form of SRFs close to this game because it just proves a point. Um, Ben O'Keefe, he's had his moments, but I'm not worried. I don't have a problem with there's just certain refs. I would be more nervous if it was a French ref, to be honest with you, like a Poit or maybe Garcia, even though we won the World Cup for him. But no, I'm not. I'm not worried. I think also these referees know the Lions series is the biggest compared to second to the World Cup. There's
Sure,
so many eyes watching. There's so much
that's right.
history. You can see it in our channels with the streams. It's just everyone's talking about it right now. So for me, I think he's going to be fine. I'm not. I'm not too stressed.
That actually kind of ties into one of the other things I wanted to ask, and cheers for that again, Randy. As I wanted to ask you about the refereeing, because I know certainly from what I was looking at on social media, the backlash was pretty heavy. My first reaction when I first watched the game was like, yeah, it was not too bad. South Africa had a few kind of 50-50s not go their way. I watched some of them a second time, and then they kind of looked worse the more you watched them. But overall, I didn't take away from that game. The referee and TMO absolutely cost the Springboks that game. I didn't think it was that kind of black and white. There was a lot of things that went wrong. Dropping the high balls and Pollard missing a couple of kicks. So, I thought there was more than just like
Definitely.
it's not just that black and white. But what did you think about it? Because I don't know, social media often it's very loud, but it's not necessarily like a fair reflection of how everyone is thinking. You're a South African, so how are you feeling about it?
Look, I wasn't happy with Jonker at all. I think he was too scared to make the decision with regards to the try. I felt it was a try. There's so many images going around, but having said that, it was done. But I 100% agree with you. It might have changed the game in a slight way, but you cannot fault the mistakes that this team was making. They were poor in the high in the catching from the up and unders, and then we still go and kick up and unders as well, which we weren't even good at catching. Faf de Klerk in his box kicking was driving me mental. Even all of them were kicking. I just don't understand the game plan there, and I battled with it in the World Cup as well before we got to the final. Is why are they consistently doing it when we're actually not that strong in it? Why not run the game? We did it to England in the World Cup, and we shocked the hell out of them. We've done it to New Zealand once or twice too. I just don't understand why South Africa keeps on feeling we need to kick the blinking ball the whole time because 1 minute we catch it. I mean, Colby was even poor under the high ball, and I know he's a hell of a lot shorter than Dwayne van der Merwe, but
Sure.
he's still quite talented within that area. It's just doesn't make sense for me. I would have just kept on playing. So I agree. I don't blame. I don't find that ref call destroyed us. I think we made our own mistakes and have ourselves to blame, and our discipline was absolutely appalling within the game. We gave away penalties. We were giving away points. So, we can blame the ref all we like. And I know South Africa, myself included, are quite known for giving them a bit of
That's
sourness.
everybody. Everybody,
Yeah.
not just South
I
Africa.
mean,
Everyone's got something they got to grab. But New Zealanders are still going on about the last Lions tour and Wayne Barnes in the World Cup and whatnot.
I
So
mean, I mean, with all the shit that's gone on in South Africa recently with regards to the looting, and people were cracking jokes relating to the looting to Marius Jonker as well. I mean,
oh, is that right?
it got vicious at one stage. Obviously, it was a joke, but people get serious and think that way. So for me, you know what? Move on. First test we lost. Can't come back from it. Let's focus on the next two and stop whining.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm with you on that one. What else did you have on your list, bud?
Um, I think the big one, with the British and Irish Lions and with South Africa, even we're known for giving our crowds, and we're known for giving quite a loudness. And I mean, this goes for the Lions as well. I remember when they were last year. I remember with them, with you guys, they have a hell of a presence. What do you think the impact is from when the players are taking a kick or when a penalty gets given, not having that crowd boosting you on a break or getting a try? Uh, the, the effect mentally on a player of not getting that extra boost or gees, as they say in SA, to keep on going. How do you think that's affected all of the players, not just South Africa because it's home, but even the Lions because they're so used to having their boykies with them?
Sure. I definitely think there's a different vibe. I mean, there has to be, right? I mean, some of the guys have kind of tried to write it off, saying like at club rugby you really feel the presence of the I forget which player. It was one of the Lions guys that said this. You really feel the presence of the crowd, but at international level, it's that high level that you don't even have time to think about
Yeah.
it. I'm not sure I'm buying that. I think that's probably just trying to kind of evade the question of saying it sucks to have no crowds there. Um, you like we just talked about the refereeing, those 50-50 calls where you've got the crowd in there, man. You can't tell me. Refs are human. When they hear the crowd
Yeah.
baying for blood at a forward pass, or someone who is not supporting their body weight at the breakdown, that the refs can hear that stuff. I mean, I've gone to enough games with my dad as a child to know that the ref
Yeah.
can hear what you are saying. So there definitely has to be that effect. I'm sure the Lions guys, because the Lions support, the traveling support is always phenomenal. I remember that vividly from 2005, even, just
Yeah.
going into the center of the city and just there being Lions fans everywhere. First time I ever saw a man pee in the middle of the street without even trying to hide it was some Lions supporter back in 2005. Like, damn, that guy was, he'd had a few, but
I
I think
remember
there's.
one of the games at Ellis Park. They flew over the stadium, and it was like, I think my dad turned around to me and said, "Is this a SA home game or Lions?" Because it was
Mm,
just a pool of red on the one end, and it was intense and insane. I remember going to the Kings when the Kings first ever played a game against
right.
the Lions, and you think, oh, it's EP game, going to have like a PE vibe. Keepers there were more Lions in there than Kings. Okay, we didn't know who the
Mm.
Kings were then, but still, it was intense, and they're passionate boykies. So, yeah, no, it's insane what those guys do, and they do get up to mischief. I've heard. And that's what I was looking forward to when they were coming out. I wanted to experience that madness of the tests, and going to a game properly and witnessing it all. But
Absolutely.
anyway, we'll wait a bit of time before we get it again.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get there eventually. I mean, I guess we can all just be thankful that the games are on, if nothing else. I know there
Yeah.
was all those kind of contingency plans, but they managed to get it. So that being a positive, I also do want to pick your brain as to, I mean, the Box lost, obviously, and that's not ideal. But what positives do you think, the coaching staff and just fans will take from that spring performance? You mentioned the fact that they haven't had a lot of game time, and they still
Yeah.
got pretty close.
I think there was still at the start of the game, there was still that passion from the Springboks, and that determination and going forward, capitalizing on opportunities. I thought our scrums weren't as bad. I was very nervous about that after watching the SA games. I think our lineouts, we didn't lose one at all either. So I thought set pieces we were good. It was just a discipline that really upset me. If they can just come back on that, and focus on playing with respect, then I think that's already a tick forward. Um, Game time, I think we can debate about this all day, but I think what a lot of people are forgetting, we've only literally played provincial leagues. Um, so we played our Rainbow Cup, we played our Preparations Cup, our Curry Cup, our Super Rugby Unlocked. It's a lot of
Mm,
rugby, I know, but one of those, I think it was the Curry Cup, we didn't have any South Africans in. So the boys
mm,
haven't really gelled. Overseas guys, perfect. They're doing well. They're playing fantastic rugby. I was disappointed with regards to the Rainbow Cup. If we had the overseas guys coming, I think it would have been a bit different. What I would have done personally, just for a preparation point of view, to better the Springboks' current situation, was having like a try series between Springboks youngsters versus Springboks current main team in South Africa against the overseas box, just to
mm,
get the camaraderie within the Springboks. Because I think that's what we were lacking.
mm,
They're playing against each other the whole time, but they're not. There's no building a team within uh, a whole Springbok huddle right now, and I think that's something we were lacking. Um, and to just throw them into it was it's a bit hectic. But again, having said that, I blame ourselves too because we should have still been in the rugby championship. We had an opportunity to go there, we didn't, and I think we lost a big opportunity. Even if the All Blacks smashed us 57-0 again, it would have been a great experience to have played there. It would have been put us under more pressure and more game plan focus, and it would have put us in a better situation than maybe we currently are now. And
mm,
Argentina is just pure proof of what it means to not play for over a year and still produce great results, beating New Zealand. South Africa could have done the same. There's no excuse from there. So it's 50-50. Were we prepared?
mm,
No. Could we have been? Yes. We could have done
mm,
stuff better and differently. So for that, you know what? We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, I'm pleased with what we produced. We didn't get smashed. We just lost. Work on a few things. and we got an opportunity.
I never actually thought about that. Like in hindsight, looking back at the rugby championship not being played by the Springboks, yeah, that's I mean, like you say, they may have come out in that one rusty a little bit, like what we saw in this game at the
Yeah,
weekend. We may have seen them kind of fall off the pace in the final 20 or 30, but maybe better it happened then than it happened now. But I guess what's done is done,
it is.
and
It's
they've
done and
still.
done, and I just think the fact that we missed that rivalry between the All Blacks this year, and no respect to Australia and Argentina, I love those two. I just think it takes a lot out of the Springboks because it puts you on your feet. It makes you realize that yes, you're number one in the world, but man alive, New Zealand are still number one in rugby, whether you like it or not. They've just got that presence and terrifying nature that will slap the arrogance out of your face. And I think having that every now and then to remind us who we are is a good thing because it keeps us on our toes. And we weren't on our toes. So for that, we're number one. Cool. We haven't played
Mm,
rugby.
true.
We still champions. Cool. Yes, you haven't played rugby. The Lions have played two Six Nations, an Autumn
That's
Nations
right.
Cup, and their provincial rugbies on form, playing against the different nations that are currently going to compete in the Six Nations. So it's those type of things that I was really worried about. But we'll see. We've got two tests left. Anything can happen. We can get smashed next week or this weekend, or we can dominate. We'll see.
That's true. It's a little bit of a tangent, but I think the All Blacks maybe missed playing the Springboks a little bit as well because we saw Fiji come over here and absolutely
Yeah,
smash into the All Blacks guys, and physically it looked like the All Blacks were a little bit shocked as to like, holy crap, like forgot teams could be like this. Maybe part of that
exactly.
is they've missed playing the Springboks. I do think both countries are better when they play each other, but I guess
It just brings out the best out of both those teams. It's just something that I don't know what it is. Even when I feel like I'm streaming it, I even get more excited. There's something about All Blacks and South Africa's history and past that's just so powerful. Man, it's good. It's something special.
absolutely. I'll open it up to the guys shortly. Did you have anything else you wanted to go over before we take any questions from the guys and wrap up?
My second one would have been the third one would have been the match fitness, which I think we've pretty much knocked on.
Yeah, that was my take from the game as well. That they didn't look as sharp as they would have been in that second half. I
Yeah,
do think the minutes they got in the bank in that first game will be kind of that investment will pay off in the second game. I think
yeah.
I can't see the Springboks seemingly kind of falling off a cliff 2 weeks in a row. I can't see it.
No, I don't think so either. I think there's too much on the line for this tournament that you know you can't afford this. There's so many eyes watching you. There's so many people around the world watching you, and it's not just you guys in New Zealand or Australia. It's just everyone around the world is curious to see what this World Cup team can do, and it's a hell of a lot of pressure on SA, but we've got the talent and the players to do it. And I'm proud of the effort that they put in, but do not underestimate this Lions squad. I know there's a lot of people who could have done this differently, could have done this differently, and I agree. There's certain players I would have had in, but there's something about that Lions team that is just terrifying to me, and we saw it last week. They were slack in the first half, but when they came back that second half, it was it was just watch out. This team can still take you out while you're wounded.
Absolutely. We've got one from Rian. He says, Box need to sort out maul attack, or is that a refing issue? I know the Box themselves didn't have bugger all chances to maul, like to get their maul going, because I think they only had 4 lineouts in the whole game. And I
Yeah.
think Gatlin said that was a very deliberate thing. They didn't want to kick the ball out because they didn't want to give the Springboks the chance to attack from line out. But I guess maybe their line out defense, maul defense, like, I mean, that's where the Lions try came from. Maybe that's an area I think the guys will be practicing midweek.
I think definitely, and I think spot on with what you said about Gatlin not kicking it out as much so that they didn't give them opportunities. My prediction was Bongi was going to score the first try from a maul, and we were going to then just take it differently from there. And that didn't happen. Every time we looked like we were going to start moving forward, we didn't just seem to gel like we used to. So I think a refereeing issue, nah, I think it was just the Lions came prepared, and they know the South Africans are known for these type of things. So I think yeah, credit to Gatlin for doing his homework on that one. But next week might be a different thing because we might approach it a little differently and force the opportunity to get more lineouts. But that was the one
Absolutely.
thing I was surprised of. I think it was 4 lineouts, which was quite odd. But just didn't give the guys a chance. But who knows what the second will be.
Absolutely. Leo says, do you feel Daly being kept on the bench is a bit lucky for him? I mean, I can answer that one, and I think he's there mainly because he covers so many positions in the back line. He can essentially cover everywhere but 9 and 10, I think. But he didn't have his best game. I mean, I'm a stats
No.
guy. His stats was like 5 tackles made, 3 tackles missed, which is not great numbers in anybody's books. He missed a long shot at penalty. I don't think he did much ball in hand in terms of attacking wise. I mean, I know it wasn't a game where any of the guys, past number 12 got a lot of ball, but
Yeah.
yeah, he didn't have a heck of a lot going for them. But I mean, we didn't mention the Lions changes. What do you think? Have they brought in Chris Harris is going to go into the midfield to start? Hamish Watson got dropped. Maybe lucky he didn't get a card last week.
Yeah.
Faletau comes in. Liam Williams is out. Any particular things you're excited or guys you're a bit disappointed for?
I'm going for Watson. I know I was one of those who said maybe he should have got a card. I think again it's like we were talking about the SS squad, giving those guys a little bit of extra confidence in the second test and maybe play around a little bit more in the third. But overall, where's Farrell? Is he starting or bench again?
Farrell is on the bench again.
See, now that I would have done differently as well. It just he's not my favorite player,
He's
but just
nobody's favorite player.
from an experience point of view, I would have had Farrell on because if you want to also play mind games back at the Springboks, we'll be watching Farrell, and because of the Farrell tackle and because of what's just happened in the media. If I wanted to give a dig back at South Africa, I would have put Farrell at the 12, and I would have put stuck with how we currently had it. Bigger can stay at 10, and just played around with it because we would have watched it, and Farrell could have frustrated us into either giving away a penalty or just we would have watched something differently. And again, it's another leader on the field. It's another opportunity for a kicker. Farrell knows us. He's had history with us. And I know we were all joking, oh, Farrell and Colby are going to reunite again. Well, that didn't quite happen the way South Africa were
No,
wanting it. But
no.
again, all that banter and talk, I think it would have given Farrell the confidence to have done something a little different. So I would have definitely had Farrell in this one. I think that's a missed opportunity. But again, Gatlin could bring him on forward in place. But a lot of people rate him, a lot of people don't. But I would have had him in from a leadership point of view, and just to see what he can do to just terrorize the South Africans a bit. I mean, just imagine Eamon Etzebeth getting angry at Farrell and doing the same thing to Farrell, getting a card, getting sent off. That's a South African team stuffed. One game, mind games. Bye bye, Rassie. What you gonna do, Waterboy? I just think that would have been something interesting.
You just suggested starting Owen Farrell. I can feel your Welsh, Irish, and Scottish subscribers just searching for that unsubscribe button right now. But yeah, you're
They give me a
certainly
lot of
right.
flack when I say that because I always talk about Farrell. I mean, I don't like the guy, and I know I don't because I always rip him with the Farrell tackle. But just from a leadership point of view, experience, past, present, I would have had in it just from a mindset for South Africa to twist us. When I'm talking of seeing what I've seen in the past of South Africa, Bucky's Botha, there was always something that would get him riled up to headbutt someone or to viciously tackle. I reckon Farrell could have been the one to have done it.
Farrell's that kind
Or
of
I'm just
guy.
secretly hoping Farrell plays, starts, does his shoulder tackle, finally gets that red card, and then we can all move on.
That'd be poetic justice for Springboks fans who still haven't forgiven. Which ref was that? I can't even remember. But it was that game from I think it was 2018. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. John with another super chat. Thank you, John. He asks, is Faletau a straight swap for Conan at 60 minutes, or does Gatland have something else up his sleeve? That is an interesting one because he's dropped Hamish Watson. He doesn't really have another kind of out and out fetch like a traditional 7, but Tyke Burns very good at the breakdown. So I guess they're not going to be missing much if for some reason Curry has to come off. I guess Faletau's he's a bit of a different skill set from Conan and Faletau. I mean, I don't watch again these guys at club level enough to kind of comment heavily.
So
But from what I watch of those guys, Conan is kind of by the numbers. Like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but he does his core job as a number 8 really well. He trucks the ball up. He's a bulldozer, and he tackles like a madman. That's kind of what he's there to do. Whereas Faletau's got maybe a few more of the silky skills. You know, I've seen him do kind of crazy offloads, maybe a bit more physical, but I don't know. I mean, what do you reckon, Faletau and Conan?
I think John's spot on. Yeah, I think we could see something definitely happening after the 60 minutes. It's just going to be interesting to see how they approach it. I think also Gatlin's got something up his sleeve. I think there's so much to experience and do something different to frustrate the Springbok squad, and I think I won't be surprised if something else happens that totally confuses us and brings up in a different light of seeing how they approach the situation.
Yeah, I
Could be
hope
interesting.
Gatlin's got something up his sleeve because he kind of like suggests
I
that
think he
after the South
does.
Africa A game, we've got stuff up our sleeve, and then the stuff up their sleeve, like
Yeah,
at
it
the
wasn't that
weekend,
good.
it wasn't that good. It was just kind of we're going to brutalize and not give
But
away
also
balls and
that could also be mind games to South Africa saying, you know what, we got something up our sleeves. No, we don't, but we'll have for the big games. So watch out.
yeah,
So
maybe.
we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah. Thank you again for that, John. Jonathan asks, which is a good question. If Pollard has to go
Yeah.
off, Willemse will probably go in at 10. How do you feel about this?
I'm not too. That's probably my few problems that I have with this squad currently is a lot of people said I'm mad for saying this, and I'll probably get it again. I would have still gone with Monestain. I just again, like I said with Farrell, it's experience. It's the comfort of knowing that this guy can kick, knowing that he can take the pressure. Develops, I think, is going to be a great force going into the future. I'm just nervous that the pressure of guys like Farrell and all the guys coming on the bench of the Lions is going to just be a little bit too much pressure on Willem. So again, opportunity to prove us wrong. But I wouldn't have had him in. I would have gone with Stein, and I probably also would have gone. And I know again a lot of people went for me for this one. I would have actually had Franz Stein as well, just as a backup. It's like they said with Daly with the more opportunities of playing in different positions. For that, for Stein, he could play centre, he could play fullback, he could play fly half if needed. Phillips, fly half is such a controlling position. You know, the Lions have good backup there. South Africa got Willems, who had his moments, but he hasn't been uh, stand out as of yet. So I think he needs a little bit more game time.
Yeah,
But we'll see. Again, I give him the opportunity to prove me wrong. Um, and yeah, Elton Yankees, as Randy just said, I don't rate him. He's not my cup of tea. I rate him in a Lions jersey, just not in a Springbok jersey. I
for
just
sure.
find he can't handle the pressure. And it's the same thing. I'm a bit nervous with Willems. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Willemse a fair bit. He does seem like that kind of guy who can just do something absolutely electric, and then you can have your head in your hands like 5 minutes
Yeah.
later. Like it's just seemingly just so erratic. It's yeah. Even the goal kicking, like sometimes you're like, that's a coachable skill. Like you can go home and practice that by yourself, and then it'll just like off into the
Yeah.
wilderness, and you're thinking, oh my god, what is going on with that fella? But it's always easy for me to say that sitting on my couch rather than in front of a big stand of people. So
Exactly.
Kevin's got one for you, G-Man. He says, and it's a super chat again, so thank you, Kevin. I think you are really missing Dwayne Vermeulen. Do you agree?
Yeah. Agree 120 million%. I
Yeah.
think we are. I think he just brings a different aspect of the game, brute force, and leadership. Once again, I know I've said that word 300 times, but it's such an important factor in a tournament like this. You need more leaders, and Dwayne is just like the second in charge to the Springbok squad. He's just a tough hitter. He can take tackles. He can make them. He can steal the ball. He can run. He's just got such a pure class of everything. I think there's good news. I saw him on the water as water boy for the Bulls the other day.
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe he could sneak a Win Jones miracle like we saw
Third
for
test,
the final
maybe.
test. That would be fantastic if he does. But even if he's on the
Especially if
bench,
it's a
I'll be happy.
decider. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are missing him, and
absolutely.
I wish he was there. But up to the youngsters now to show what they can do without him. It's your time to shine.
That's right. Now, we better wrap it up in just a tick because the Olympic Sevens final is on in about 5 minutes. New Zealand are taking on Fiji in that one. You've got a Kiwi asking you this question, G-Man, but who are you backing for the gold medal for the Olympics? I mean, everybody loves Fiji, so if you say Fiji, I won't blame you.
Nah, I love Fiji, but I've got a soft spot for you New Zealanders, so I'm behind you guys all the way.
Oh, nice. I appreciate that, G-Man. All right, man. It's been... There you go.
Now, as I say, this is the New Zealand streams are pretty much some of my favourites. I have a good kick with a beer with you guys when we're live streaming. So go on, make us proud. But good luck to Fiji. I mean, who knows what can happen? But it will be a good opportunity for New Zealand to just keep proving a point that I've been saying. They're just the dominant force. And what a year! The cricket success of the Test Championship. Now you're going to win a gold medal. Keep going, keep shining.
Hopefully a rugby championship in a few months if that can all go ahead.
Oh, there we might disagree a little bit there, but we'll see what happens when they get there.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, thanks, G-Man, for coming along. It's been great to catch up with you. We should definitely do this again in a sooner time than whatever it was the last time, like a year and a half, 2 years.
And also, a big shout out to you for the success that you've achieved in this channel. I mean, to think we go back years ago with the 10-14 still going strong, and I don't think you've actually stopped. I know I've had my breaks in there, so well done to you on keeping on going and flying the flag high for rugby YouTubers around the world. So keep going high. I'm looking forward to seeing where this journey takes us all, especially you. It's been a good ride, and I'm excited.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. It's kind of been a journey for all of us, but yeah, we'll see where it takes us. So far, so good. Can't complain. All I need from your guys is a win at the weekend to give us that third deciding test. It's what I want for Christmas, G, man. That's absolutely what I want.
I want it too. We're gonna get it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Take care of yourselves, and yeah, we'll be along sometime soon. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.